Good morning, everyone. My name is Todd Alsup. I'm coming to you live from New York City. This is the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles' Sunday service. I'm going to get things started with a little music. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Good afternoon, Todd Alsup.
Hello, Keith.
Live from New York City, you say, as
Right.
I join you live from Los Angeles, California. So good morning to those of you on the West Coast and a good afternoon to you. What a fabulous rendition of that song. It was addressed in one of our, in the chat window that song was actually written by the one and only Bob Dylan. Did you know that? But it's performed by the Byrds, right?
I lost you for a second. I couldn't hear
Oh, I
you.
said it was put in our chat window that song was actually written by the one and only Bob Dylan.
I don't think I did know that. I
Well,
know that the Byrds recorded it, but
so we
that's...
can fact check it while we're online today, but it was shared by one of our congregants, but we know originally performed by the Byrds, but quite wonderfully performed by you this morning as you welcome us into our beloved sacred virtual space known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. It's always a joy to have you here with us, Todd. This morning is no exception to that. Thank you for being here, and I know you've got some beautiful, beautiful music and inspiring and uplifting music for us prepared.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for
And
having
you
me.
made it through the mini blizzard there, right?
The mini blizzard, yes.
Right. Not many plural, but many small, but intense from what I can tell, right?
It wasn't too bad here.
Well, good. Well, good. Well, thank you for being here. I look forward to sharing our morning with you, and I know everyone online is as well. So we'll see you in just a bit. Good morning to each and every one of you. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and I welcome you, as Todd did, into our virtual space this morning as we come together to remember who we are as divine beings, to connect in a way that is transcendent of the physical space, especially since we're not together in the physical space, but being able to remember who we are as divine beings, the qualities of life that we're each imbued with, to celebrate this time that we have together as we kick off the Gregorian calendar year of 2022 and honor within each and every one of us the power of the divine that exists within us, that we have the opportunity to express with every thought and every action and every reaction and interaction with the thing itself. That is what we're talking about today, the thing itself, life in love. And just as Todd sang to us from the song The Birds, there is a season, and every season shall we turn, turn, turn. And I invite each of us as we tune in today, whether it's live through Zoom or Facebook Live or later on a YouTube channel or through our different resources for technology, to remember that right now is the season of you, and it's the season of me. That we have before us an opportunity to reconnect to our heart, as you see above my left shoulder in the screen, and to remember that we have within us this great power to choose to honor and let go of the past, to live consciously in the present and be a conscious co-creator, a participant in what we want our future to be like. And so today is the day that we come together to anchor into our awareness in a greater way than ever before, who and what we are as a divine being. And so I shall place on the screen our welcoming slides, and I invite you to snuggle in wherever you may be on this planet as you watch this, and just take in today with a fresh set of eyes, a fresh, renewed place in your ears, and an open heart, letting go of any expectations or any judgment, letting go of any ideology from the past, letting go of anything that may be anchoring you into a sense of discomfort or dis-ease, and open up to letting the spirit of life guide you into a spiritual awakening today, and ultimately providing in a new way a greater sense of personal self-empowerment. And so I place on the screen now our opening slide that says that we here as a community are here to support individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. That is indeed what we're here for today. And so as we come together in this space, saying hello to each and every one of you, I invite us all to begin to anchor into that space I spoke of, and practice as we do, as we open our service, with the Sanskrit blessing of Namaste. The literal sense of Namaste is I bow to you. It's an act of placing our hands together physically in prayer position, placing it on our heart. The bowing that takes place within us is an honoring of the one life, the one thing, the thing itself that exists within you and within me, that gives us the capacity to think, to believe, to know, to reveal, to participate in life itself. And so this bowing is not only to that power, but to that power that exists within all sentient beings. And so together, in acknowledgement of that, we raise our hands to our lips, to our third eye, back to our lips, blessing it back to our heart, and bend forward and say together, Namaste. The God in me, the power in me, salutes, honors, and acknowledges that which is within you. As a community, we come together to welcome and celebrate all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all expressions of life, all genders, all abilities, for we literally stand with you in this space, even though it's a metaphorical space here. But heart to heart, consciousness to consciousness, we are here standing and honoring that stamp of individuality that Spirit has placed upon it and called it you. And so as a community, we welcome one and welcome all into our virtual home. We come together and have for well over 30 years to teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the Science of Mind. This month, we kick off the book, The Science of Mind, by going through the first 4 chapters. And so you'll hear more about the first chapter, the thing itself, today as we move into that and kick off that, building upon what we looked at last week as far as what is possible versus living in a state of impossibility, by living in a state of spontaneity. And here in this philosophy, faith, way, and life, we encourage and practice and invite everyone to live in a place of spontaneity. In other words, allowing spirit to meet us where we are in consciousness, and then allow that to be moved upon the law of creation, the law of life, bringing back to us an experience that is reflective of who we are as spiritual beings, as divine beings, as human beings, for they're all the same one being. And what our vision is, as you heard earlier, is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so today, let's each decide that we're ready for a spiritual awakening. And we do that once again by releasing and surrendering ourselves to open to the power of life, the gift of life that we have within us. We do that through a morning ritual called Calling in the Light. And we perform this ritual, this ceremony, to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, that which we call spirit. I invite each of us today to close our eyes, to bring in a greater awareness of this presence. To remember that within us we are peace, we are power, we are beauty, we are joy, we are light, we are life, we are wisdom, and we are joy. All of these qualities of the divine that exist within each and every one of us are the very things that we honor through that act of namaste. Life is inclusive of those, but not exclusive to those. And so as we tap into these qualities, we do so honoring for all others. A reflection of this affirmation. May you each be filled with loving kindness. May you each be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be healthy in body and mind. And may you find peace and be truly happy. Knowing that we can use our mind for more than one thing, because there's only one thing taking place, the thing itself. Let's also come together and use this desire, this affirmation, this invitation for all that are to find inner peace and truly happiness, to also find healing. Dr. Ernest Holmes tells us that healing is the revealing of the thing itself, the one power within all of us. And so I invite us to bring into our mind's eye anyone, anything, our country, our political system, anyone that we know that's in harm or danger or out of sorts in life. And let's begin to put them into the light of that virtual candle on the screen that we saw just a moment ago. Choosing to know that's the light, the healing light of the divine. And as we intentionally place them there in a state of peace, let's affirm together that all who are in need experiences the eternal and everlasting love of the divine right now. And so to further this depth of healing and awakening, we'll move into our song, to sing along, because it's through music that healing also takes place. Todd shall come back on the screen and guide us through that song called Calling in the Light, and the lyrics will be on the screen of the call and response part.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace in my heart. I am free. I am spirit. I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light of love. I'm gonna do that section one more time and you guys sing along with me on the I am love part. I am love, I am peace in my heart. I am free. I am spirit. I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light of love. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
Oh, and so it is. So it is. What a fantastic and really fun, creative, and innovative version of that song, Todd. Thank you.
Thank you.
It brings my heart such joy and warmth to witness you just have so much fun on that keyboard. Well, it's just you're very natural at it, and so it's you can tell that as you're doing it, it too brings you joy.
It
So
does indeed. Yes.
good. So thank you. And so today we're moving into the book, The Science of Mind, and we're kicking off today by talking about the thing itself. We're talking about moving to a higher framework of consciousness always here through a spiritual awakening we talk about in our vision statement. So I know the song that you've picked for us to bookend my message today is one that speaks of getting higher, not necessarily getting higher, but getting higher, right? So you tell us what it is?
It's Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground.
Yeah, I love it. Good. So I'm so excited to hear you sing this and share your version of it. So
Should we do
let's
it?
rip.
Let's do it. People keep on learning. While your people keep on dying. World, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Hey. I'm so darn glad it let me try it again, 'cause my last time on earth I lived a whole world of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. I'm gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. Teachers, keep on teaching. Preachers, keep on preaching. Well, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Oh no. Lovers, keep on loving. Believers, keep on believing. Sleepers, just stop sleeping, 'cause it won't be too long. Listen, I'm so darn glad you let me try it again, 'cause my last time on earth I lived a whole world of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. Hey, till I reach my highest ground. So no one's gonna bring me down. Hey, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Don't you let nobody bring you down.
I love that song, and I just love it, love it, love it, love it. It speaks so true to where we are in life right now. And your version's so fantastic. Thank you. You do Stevie proud.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you. You're very welcome, Todd. And so, as I have said a couple of times, we're moving into the first chapter of the book, The Science of Mind, today. And what we are speaking of is that spiritual awakening, reaching that higher ground, which we're always here to reach for in our philosophy, faith, and way of life. And we do that through our minds. I love the lyric in this song, which is why I'd asked Todd to do that before my message today, that says, I'm so darn glad he let me try it again, because my last time on earth I lived a whole lot of sin, a whole world of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then, because I'm going to keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. Woo! It's reaching that higher ground that is the very foundational element of this teaching, this essence called the science of mind, this journey of finding our spiritual awakening and constantly returning to that and spiraling up into a higher framework of mind, a higher consciousness, if you will. According to Dr. David Hawkins, through the map of consciousness, it's that higher consciousness is where we tap into the purest, most reflection of our divinity in life. And so today I'm going to share with you and speak to you an interpretation of the intro and the first chapter of the book, The Science of Mind. I encourage you right now to let go of anything you've heard in the past in regards to this book, or even anything that you might hear me say today that you've heard me say before, and just constantly let the framework from where we approached our receptivity to letting go of what was, to open up to that which can be made real through us, that higher ground, take place today. To just let it take place and to let go of any of the sin that we've all lived. Sin, remembering in this teaching, is based on the truest form of the Latin word, meaning missing the mark. Not some physical action in life, not that one can't forgive themselves for that, but to release any time in our life leading up to right now where we believe we haven't thought the highest thought. I'm going to open with something that many of us have heard before, and once again I invite you to hear this anew, that is a little writing that is titled, "How Enlightened Are You?" And it says, if you can live without caffeine, if you can be cheerful, ignoring aches and pains, if you can resist complaining, if you can understand when your loved ones are too busy to give you any time, if you can take criticism and blame without resentment, if you can ignore a friend's limited education and never correct them, or if you can resist treating a rich friend better than a poor friend, or if you can face the world without lies and deceit, or if you can conquer tension without medical help, or if you can relax without liquor, pills and drugs, I'll add, or if you can sleep without the aid of drugs, if you can honestly say that deep in your heart you have no prejudice against creed, color, religion, gender, preference, or politics, then you've almost reached the same level of spiritual development as your dog. Now, I love to open with that because it certainly gives us a perspective, a framework, by looking at not just my dog, but most of us have dogs. Many of you have them at your feet right now, but you certainly are aware of the reference point in this cute little writing to remind us of the capacity that we have within us to live life free, to live life moving and reaching for that higher ground, to use the tools that we have in this teaching known as the science of mind, to eliminate all of that stuff that we get caught up in that causes life to be less than the optimum for us. I'm going to share with you this writing that my beloved soul sister friend, Reverend Dr. Carol Carnes, wrote about the teachings of Ernest Holmes and this philosophy, faith, and way of life. And she writes, she says, really believe the basic teachings of Ernest Holmes to be the most cutting-edge spiritual technology on the planet. After all, they are the gleanings of ancient wisdom, science, philosophy, psychology, and some religion. Greatly influenced by Ralph Waldo Emerson and Thomas Troward, not to forget the teachings of Jesus, Holmes nonetheless managed to put together something radically new and which stands on its own. Today I invite you and encourage you to once again see the science of mind with a new set of eyes, as she says that Holmes brings this togetherness, this approach to this philosophy, faith, way of life, this psychology, this wisdom, this science, this philosophy, this some religion, all in this synthesis, if you will, of a new way to live life, no matter when it was written and or published, or when you first or last heard about it. Once again, I'm reminding you to open yourself up to a new vision today, to your wholeness, to your consciousness, and to build on the foundation in mind, but not hanging on to any ideas or definitions in mind from before. I invite you to bring about into your mind's eye the last time that you really allowed yourself to resonate with this truth of the science of mind. For me, I go back to when I walked into the Center for Spiritual Living, actually known as the Atlanta Church of Religious Science, in the early 1980s. And how this teaching resonated and spoke to me in such a new way. Bring up a memory like that in your mind. And then fast forward to another time in your life. For me, it was when I said yes to ministry. And think of the evolution that transpires in your life from that moment to the next. For me, it was obviously a great distance in mind, if you will, moving into a higher framework of mind for that to happen. And then bring forward another time in life. For me, it was when I said yes to stepping in to shepherd this ministry from where it was to where it was to go. Once again, reflecting a state of evolution in my mind. I know that's true for you, that third stop along the way, if you will, in this journey. This journey of you finding your personal self-empowerment through the spiritual awakening. And then bring yourself to the moment. And let today be one of those days where you hear a renewed, new perspective on how you have an opportunity, as well as I, to use this teaching and hear all about it in a new way. In the foreword for the book, the great Gene Houston writes, "The science of mind offers us the passion for a new possibility along with the precise and clear directions for building a new matrix of mind and manifestation. The science of mind shows us how to activate the constructive imagination and how to hold in thought and feeling the intention and energy of healing, holing, and co-creation." There's a lot to unpack right there in this first bit. That this teaching right now offers us the passion, as I've shared with you before, passion, the opportunity to pass the eye on, to allow your divinity through your humanity, not hormanity, humanity, to be shared out into the world. This teaching offers us that opportunity to do that, along with a new possibility it gives us. And today is that day, with precise and clear directions for building a new matrix of mind and manifestation. That precise and clear direction that I'm instructing you with today is to let go of what was and to be open to what can be. To move into that higher ground by allowing yourself to simply release and let go. Not even necessarily being attached to what you're releasing and letting go of, but just with the faith of knowing that there is that which is greater to make itself known to you. That's how we build this matrix of mind and manifestation that is a new structure, construct of mind and manifestation. We do that by activating this constructive imagination within us. Remember, not just our imagination, but a constructive imagination, the ability to envision that which is possible in our life. I look over my shoulder at one of the schools that we built in Africa. God, I don't know how many years ago now, but all of that was a result of the ability to use my constructive imagination. Today, we are all being called for a new idea for what is possible in our life. We do that, as Houston tells us, by activating this constructive imagination and then holding in thought and feeling the intention of what is possible and the energy of its possibility coming through, and doing that through the act of the great Trinity of today, which is healing, revealing that divine nature that exists within us, holding, engaging in life from a perspective of oneness and co-creation, knowing that what is then happening in the healing and the holding of the mind, of the divine that is making itself known to and through and as us, then must show up in form because it is being creative. That's its nature. And so as we use our portion of it in tandem or with it, then it must create through us as a co-creator, bringing forth through us an experience that is a reflection of that which is taking place in the act of healing and holding. She goes on to write that evolution, which is what we're all here to be a conscious participant in, is seen to follow involution, wherein we discover that our minds are stargates, our bodies cells of mysteries, and these give us the keys to the emerging phase of our existence. This evolution follows involution. Involution meaning that we are consciously stepping into and steering ourselves towards our healing and our holding. Involution, which is what evolution is following, is consciously invoking the law, is consciously participating as a co-creator in the creative mind of the divine. And so for you and I to experience evolution in physical form, we must be willing to go to that higher ground and let the law of life do its part. Evolution is seen to follow involution, wherein we discover that our minds are stargates, our bodies are cells of mysteries, and this gives us the keys to the emerging phase of our existence. Stop right now And let the truth resonate with each one of us that we are being called into an awakening to our emerging phase of our existence. This is individually, collectively, as a community on Earth. Houston goes on to tell us that Ernest Holmes, the founder and the author of The Science of Mind, was one of the first to direct us to what is to be found in the vast ecology of inner space. In preparing for this morning, I started tuning into that statement of the vast ecology of inner space, and I thought to myself, wow, in today's world, we've just in the physical world have launched, we, meaning humanity, launched a telescope that's being shot out into the ethers of outer space. And it's believed that if it falls into place and everything works according to the plan, that when this telescope is up and running at its capacity, that they'll be able to see all the way back to the Big Bang. So using that as an example of how far we know that the eye, the ability to see of the human, being used through tools and science, of course, can go, let's use that same distance as a baseline for how deep into our soul we can go. Imagine if you were able to look deep into your soul and be able to trace it all the way back to the Big Bang of when your soul came to be. And to know that you carry with you all the power from that moment. You carry it with you right now as we each step into this awakening of this new emerging phase of our existence, of living from the trinity of healing, holding, and co-creativity. Houston goes on to tell us this book, The Science of Mind, which presents the foundation for the teaching, The Science of Mind, was written in what may have been a simpler time, right? But I encourage us to not only hear it from the perspective of that simpler time, but to understand that it also works for the present moment, a more complex time, of course, right? Holmes uses language from the late 1800s and early 1900s. But the words only have the power that we give them. We know what the essence is behind them. Houston goes on to write in regards to this book and these writings of Ernest Holmes that we have no choice in the matter here once we become awakened to understanding of the power, the science of our mind, then but to democratize greatness with these writings. In other words, make it easily accessible to everyone, and then utilize the whole continuum of human and divine potential. In other words, what we're being called for here is to use this teaching to step into our capacity and opportunity to make this philosophy, faith, and way of life as accessible to everyone as possible, and then to use the continuum of human and divine potential so that we all may step into this emerging phase of our existence. She goes on to write that the science of mind says that it's not only possible that this is what is expected of us as awakening beings that are reaching for higher ground, beings that know that we know that we know what's important in life: peace and power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. She writes, the science of mind says that this is not only possible for us, it is what is expected of us. Indeed, it is that for which we have been created. Now take a moment and ask yourself, are you living and are you willing to live in accordance with the spiritual truth that you have been created to be a conscious participant in democratizing greatness for all of humanity, maybe even the world, maybe even our planetary system, maybe even the universe, and then to utilize the whole continuum of human and divine potential as you continue to navigate your spiritual awakening, seeking and attaining personal self-empowerment while navigating your humanity every day of this life. Now, I know that this information, no matter how it's hitting you right now, may be intense and oddly stimulating and deeply stirring and incredibly freeing. But Houston goes on to close the foreword in regards to this teaching as these are the times. We are the people. This is the book that can help us do it. So I ask you today to ask yourself, how in this moment can you surrender to this calling, to make a choice, a decision to evolve, to invoke the law in a way, to convert any darkness in your mind, any sin, into light, into gold, by becoming a conscious evolutionist who is also an alchemist. I've been listening to the autobiography of Will Smith, that he narrates himself, and he speaks of the book, The Alchemist, and how it was such a turning point in his life. And the alchemists, as we all have an opportunity right now to say yes to becoming one, is one who transforms all energies into higher frequencies of light and love. They are the bringers of a new dawn, transmuting the old paradigms into a higher intelligence and order. They act solely for the highest good of all. Love is the only master they answer to. That's a big, big, big calling, and yet we can do it. And we can do it by choosing to be it, the thing itself, the love, the power, the source, the light. Remember, we're an evolving being. Holmes says that we all look forward to the day when science and religion shall walk hand in hand through the visible to the invisible. Take yourself on a journey of the invisible into the vast ecology of your inner space and know that it's there. The answer lies. But it's not just lying there in darkness. It's lying there in smiling repose, giggling, saying, "Come on, baby, use me." But that only matters if we choose to use it and to let it use us. Let it use us. Holmes says this, to suppose that the creative intelligence of the universe, that big bang energy that's within you and me, would create the human in bondage and leave them bound would be to dishonor the creative power which we call God. To suppose that God, this creative power, could make the human as an individual without leaving them to discover themselves would be to suppose an impossibility. Remember last week I spoke of us being open to the spontaneity, that big boom that exists within us. That energy, that creative intelligence within us lying in smiling repose, if you will, waiting for us to beckon it into an expression as it's waiting for us to give that space, because remember, it can only do for us what it can do through us. And you and I are called to step into this freedom by living life unencumbered by limitation, unencumbered by enslavement, unencumbered by paradigms of the old, the sins of old thinking. Holmes tells us that for us to begin to train our mind to using this in creative intelligence, the thing itself, this power, called source, called God, called you, as an individualized expression of us, we must choose to see abundance in the universe. He says we cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth continues I'll back up. We cannot see abundance. We see abundance in the universe. We cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth continues untold riches, and the very air is vibrant with power. Why then is the human weak, poor, and unafraid? The science of mind deals with these questions. The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Today, I invite you to open yourself up, to begin to not attempt to count the grains of sand on the beach, but to know that they exist and that each one is a particle of good, a particle of light, a particle that is imbued with this divine intelligence, and begin to see them as if there's a funnel, not just a crown, but a funnel of it moving into your mind, one by one, never ending. And as each one of these grains begins to fill your being, you too become attuned with the creative power, the light, the love, the beauty, the abundance of that which we are innately born with. Remember this love, this light, this creative universe, this power, God, Holmes tells us, is indeed the great love of the universe, whose desire, its desire, is to create more of itself out of itself through us. Hence the visual of opening ourselves up to the grains of sand, filling us up to remind us that this abundance of good in the universe is being beckoned to express itself through us is infinite by nature. And so the only barrier that exists within us, expressing it in a new, spontaneous, fun, infinitely expressive way, is each one of us and how we receive it. And so today, let's no longer block that good. The great love of the universe, Holmes tells us, the power, God, whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself through us, must be one with the great law of its own being. And we approach love through the law. Then this is the teaching, love and law. And the love of God is perfect, so the law of God is perfect. In other words, as we open up to this in the most infinite way possible, the law of life responds to us by corresponding and brings forth through us more and more and more and more and more and more and more of the thing itself. The love that is unencumbered, of a mindset that's living in this trinity of healing, holding, and co-creation. Holmes tells us, that when we learn to trust the universe, meaning not only the law, not only the power, not only the intelligence, but ourselves as well, because we are one with and as it, it's then that we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. We must learn, and today is the day, to come under that divine government and accept the fact that nature's table is ever filled. Never was there a cosmic famine. In other words, we don't have to take on the burden or the responsibility to attempt to create anything, because it's all already created in the mind of God. Ours is to open up and let it flow through us. And we do that by living in a state of healing, revealing our oneness, of holding, by living in a state of oneness. And through co-creation, in other words, by then using the first two in a way that's unencumbered, when it hits that spark of the law, bringing forth form. The finite alone, it's wrought and suffered. But brothers and sisters, friends and family, my spiritual family, which is all of life itself, it's important for us to remember that the infinite is you, it is in me, it's God. It's always God. It always will be God. the way it is. Houston goes on to tell us that the science of mind is the operating manual to life. It's like we've been given the most marvelous computer in the world. You know what's the bottom line of the science of mind? It's twofold. One is the law. It responds by corresponding. The other is the thing itself. It exists within you and within me. It's who we are. And the last piece of that is to reach that higher ground, we got to be open at the top. And let's let today be the day. I'm looking forward to us continuing on these 4 chapters. Next week, the one and only Dr. Sue Rubin will be here to share with me in conversation the next chapter. And it'll be a fun month. So let's let today be a new day that we begin to think anew and use the thing itself in a new way. I'm going to invite Todd back on the screen, who's going to sing for us and remind us to use our mind in a new way and to let it be a new day. Thank you.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel, yeah. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel, yeah. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, and you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean, yeah. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's just what I mean. And this old world is a new world, and a bold world for me, yeah. And I'm feeling good. Stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and that's just how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Feeling good, yeah.
Yes, you are, and you're helping us feel good as well.
That's good. That's my job.
That's your job, J-O-B. Yes. What a great, great, great song, right?
Love it.
Your musical selections today have just been superb. Not that they aren't always, but just superb, and what a great match to our message and where we're at right now as a community. And thank you for that.
Thanks, Keith.
You're very welcome. Hopefully, you have a most wonderful day planned the rest of the day in the land of Manhattan.
I'm going to do some things. Nothing
Good.
too crazy. It's crazy times, but
Crazy. That for sure. That it is. It is. Well, once again, thank you. So I'm going to place on the screen now the methodology for all of us to support our community financially as we move through these unique and crazy times, to open up, to use the thing itself, to use the abundance of the universe in a way to support our community in a fantastic way. And the ways are as follows. And know that each and every dollar and more that you all donate and consciously give is so deeply appreciated and honored and acknowledged. You can go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate. You go to the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. It'll guide you through that to the donate tab. You can send in a check, and our address is 1200 North Liberty Avenue, West Hollywood, California, or my phone number's on the screen, and you can call me, and I'll be happy to handle that privately. Todd's going to take us through our conscious giving song while we each take a moment and use one of those manners. And once again, thank you in advance for that. Todd?
love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision. It's my decision right here, right now. Oh, and once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision. It's my decision right here, right now.
Thank you so very much. So beautiful. And thank you for being here today, Todd.
Always a pleasure, Keith. Thank you for
So
having me.
wonderful. A big thank you to Todd for being here today as our musician, our musical director. A big thank you to Travis Smith, our audio technician, who helps guide us to present the best audio and video possible to you. A big thank you to our administrative assistant and social media pages person, Robert Hensley. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here as well. I want to give you an update on some things that are transpiring here at Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. I'm going to do them from the top of my head. Please join us this week for our weekday, midweek daily meditation that takes place on Wednesday morning at 8:30. We had a great turnout this Wednesday. I invite you all to please take time in your life to stop and join us on Wednesday morning for a 15 to 20 minute guided meditation that helps us anchor ourselves. I know I use that word every Sunday, but it's true, into what I speak about on Sunday, but also as a reminder, as a tool to use the teachings of the science of mind in a new way. It's through Zoom. The links are all on our website, through our weekly e-newsletter that goes out, as well as our app in the App Store. And we'll send reminders out as well. Please join, as well as please invite a friend to join. It's through Zoom. You can use your phone, or you can turn your camera on or turn it off if you want. There's no need to put on your morning makeup. Just come on. I oftentimes leave my camera off, but we do it and then record it, and then that information is accessible later on our YouTube channel as well as through our website. Also, a reminder, we had talked about coming together on January 23rd in person in the building at Congregation Colamy with the new Omicron variant that's out. That building is we're no longer going to be able to do that. It's been a decision made by the board of directors there, just out of safety's sake for all of us. And so stay tuned. We'll figure that out. Right now, things there are going on a week-by-week basis. And so we're in communication with the building, and we'll stay in communication with each of you. And let's just trust that the right time will come together for us to come face-to-face with each other in the safest way possible so that we can celebrate each other. And I encourage you to stay safe out there. A reminder that I send out a daily text that goes out at 7:30 every morning. That's a stimulus, if you will, to start your day in a great way, a little snippet of metaphysics each morning. I hope that you're all receiving those, and if you're not, feel free to sign up for that through our website, and or you can reach out to me and I can add you to that, and or you can do that in our app in the App Store. I've talked about classes. I've researched a new class that's going to be taught this week. I'll send out an email to all of you asking if you prefer Wednesdays or Thursday evenings. It will be online. The book is called E Squared. It's hard to get our hands on the books right now. So just if you're interested in taking class, please reach out to me, or just be aware that I'm going to reach out to you this week, and we will start that probably the end of the month. I was going to start it sooner, but we can't get our hands on the books, but I've already started preparing the curriculum. So I'm excited about that, and I hope those of you that would like to take class, or if you haven't in a while and you're ready to kickstart some growth in yourself, as I talked about this morning, please prepare yourself for that, and feel free to reach out to me in regards to that. As I said earlier, I will have a guest next Sunday to continue the conversations with Dr. Keith, which I haven't done in a while, but it will be our beloved Dr. Sue Rubin who will be here, who is an icon in the movement of religious science and the science of mind. And she's going to join me, and we'll look at the second chapter of the book. So know that that's what we'll do. Know that you're all appreciated and loved and celebrated. I thank you all for being here. I'm going to close out with a spiritual mind treatment, which is what's called an affirmative prayer in our teaching. It's done in the affirmative, not a state of supplication. I invite you to open yourselves up and be receptive to this. And then we'll say goodbye to those of you that are on Facebook, and those that are on that are Zoom. You can stay on, and we will have a moment to chat for a bit and just connect with each other. And so with that said, let's continue. It's reveling in the energy of the day, in the transformation that has taken place by means of each one of us having chosen to be receptive to surrendering and letting go. We'll let the energy of the most incredibly fabulous music wash over us. And we open up in a state of gratitude, being thankful for our ability and our capacity to seek out an opportunity to grow. For being thankful for the journey that we've each been on to get to now. And releasing any emotional attachment to that journey that may be bogging us down or enslaving us to an old idea. Today we make a covenant and commit to ourselves to consciously live from this place of healing, of holding, and being awake and alert to the co-creativity that's taking place through us. We give ourselves permission and instruction to begin to mine the vastness of our inner space. affirming that what's there is rich in fertile energy and intelligence and wisdom and creativity. It's that power, it's the thing itself that is indeed waiting in smiling repose for us to use it, to unearth it, to express it in a new way. And so we say yes to that. And as we choose to move forward right now, we do so without any expectation that the skies open up and lightning bolts come down. Not that that can't or won't happen. What we prepare ourselves for is living with a more open heart, with living with the presence of love in a new way, with living as the thing itself, awakened and enlivened and doing its thing through us unencumbered. And so we not only reach for a higher ground, but with each step along the way, we let each new step be the foundation from where we grow, and then grow, and then grow. And so on this day, measured by the calendar, called January 9th in the year 2022, a new dawn has unfolded. For it's a new year, and we have a new thought, and we are a new you. And we're feeling good. And beyond just the feeling, we're being good. Remembering that good is a synonym for God. And so what we're being is the power, the thing itself, fully actualized, fully expressed, fully present. And we let it be. And we let it be. And we let it be, and so it is.